everybody. Thanks for joining me on my first show in the new apartment. I am traumatized, but not as badly as Doug, who you will actually hear from later. All right, we got a great show for you today. Kinsey Schofield is joining me to discuss Harry will likely not see his family this summer. You know, there was all that BS of, you can invite me to Sandringham. Well, guess what? Not only is he not going to Sandringham, he's probably not going to see them at all. Meanwhile, Prince William, his brother, is leading the normal life that Harry said he could never have in the UK. We all called BS, and now we got the proof. And we've got questions are now arising about Travelist, the quasi-charity that Harry has in England, the one where somehow he thinks that giving cash will somehow offset carbon emissions. I don't understand how a human construction like cash can save the planet, but we'll get to it. Don't you worry. We've also got Meghan posts pics of Lili. Now, gee, I wonder why she did that. Could it be that her popularity has fallen 13%? It could not get any lower. It's insanity. Yes, it's nuts. Then we've got the big royal wedding. I'm really excited. And we, of course, have Catherine and her amazingly emotional moment that actually made me tear up. And, you know, I'm kind of a hard ass. Well, at least I like you to think I am. But I did. I teared up a little bit. And, of course, we're going to end it with deep thoughts from Doug, who is locked in my bedroom as I speak. But before we do that, let's grab my friend, my love, Kinsey Schofield. Hello.
Hey, what up? What up, Paula?
I'm so glad to see you, honey. How are you?
Congratulations on the move. Love the lobster art behind you.
I'm trying. I've also got little Doug over there when he was young, thin, and very, very happy.
He's still happy.
That's true. He's just not that young or thin. He's just like his mother.
just like Aunt Kinsey.
Just like his mother. Now, I'm going to go a little out of order because I want to start with Prince William leading the happy life that Harry said he could never have. Now, we all remember this, right? When in his bid to get taxpayer-funded security back, Harry told the High Court, or he wrote to the High Court, it was with great sadness for both of us that my wife and I felt forced to step back from this role and leave the country in 2020. The UK is my home. The UK is central to the heritage of my children and a place I want them to feel at home as much as where they live in the moment in the US. That cannot happen if it's not possible to keep them safe when they are on UK soil. I cannot put my wife in danger like that, and given my experiences in life, I'm reluctant to unnecessarily put myself in harm's way as well. So apparently that is the reason why Harry and Meghan fled. Now, I mean, there have been several reasons, haven't there? I mean, are my recollections now varying, Kens?
But no.
I mean, apparently it was all because UK security just sucks, which is insane. And that they were going.
And he had the security before he quit his job. He had the security that he's asking for now. It was privacy. I mean, at the end of the day, we know ultimately why they quit. Meghan didn't understand why they were selling postcards with her face on them in the Windsor gift shop, and she wasn't getting a percentage of it. I mean, that at the end of the day, that's what this is about. They wanted to commercialize Meghan's newfound celebrity that she'd been working on every Shakira audition and 90210 BJ. I think that we all know what the ultimate reason was, but they did throw out things like privacy and security to try to justify their actions later on so that they wouldn't look like such shallow villains. But they've shown their true colors. Don't forget, in the Oprah interview, and I think in other interviews, maybe even in Spare, Harry says that his father and his brother are prisoners.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just,
there's only one person that looks like with a frown on their face every time I see them, looking like they've got a one-way ticket to hell.
Oh, we're getting there. Don't you worry. Because right now, and again, of course, it was security. That's why he had to leave, not because Meghan was so bullied and so upset and all these other, BS claims. But here we have his brother and his family. My God, they look so nice. They look so great. And in fact, in a story I did this week for News Nation, I had a source actually tell me this. A source who lives in Berkshire near the Lambrook School say, Harry goes on about how his kids couldn't have had a private life in the UK, but after this weekend, I beg to differ. There was no security, no fuss, and William was just doing a normal dad supporting his kid. This was at a multi-school triathlon event. It was a wonderful thing to see, though moms were swooning a little as, good God, William's handsome. Harry is a liar. His kids could have had a full, private, fulfilling private life surrounded by their loving cousins. Last weekend proved it for me. He's literally ruined their lives as far as I'm concerned. And you do have to wonder about that, because right now we see photos of Lili and Archie alone, just by themselves, wandering their grounds. Meanwhile, Louis, Charlotte, George all seem to have a lovely social life, good life, and there were no security guards around.
Well, they are. I mean, we also don't want to say that and put them in jeopardy. There are security guards around. They just look like normal people. So it's not like Prince William rolls up with an entourage. They look like normal people and they're sprinkled around. So it looks like there's no security, but they are heavily protected.
You know what? You are correct. They're not pulling a Harry where the guys are like pistols bulging out of the side pockets. Exactly. Like, we're here for security. And you're like, oh, geez, Louise.
Harry and his entourage, yes.
Thank you. His friends, his paid friends. And it's so stark. Again, I'm going to show this photo because here's the family. Here's that family. They look loving. They look happy. Now, meanwhile, this is Harry this week. Harry went to a polo match by himself, hanging out. That's Nacho, his friend, his one friend who's not on the payroll, and Nacho's wife. Meghan is nowhere in sight. And then 2 days later, he shows up to Jose Andres's book party.
Jose happened first and then the polo match, but yes.
Thank you. I'm getting it all a little flumbled, but that's okay. That's me. I flumble.
At the end of the day, the point is 2 events where Meghan Markle is MIA.
Exactly. He's flying solo. No kids, no wife. And it leaves me with the question of, do they actually have anything in common? They've been together for 8 years. Take sex out of the equation because, she's always going on like, how hot is my husband? And he's like, Mommy, I love you. But what do they actually have in common that they could sit down and chat about? And
their hate for the British royal family, their paranoia. I mean, really, at the end of the day, what they've had in common is the us versus them mentality that Meghan worked so hard to develop within Windsor Castle, as they were, looking at Frogmore Cottage renovations, thinking it's not enough. But I do want to make the point that the difference between Prince William and Prince Harry is that Prince William married someone that understood the assignment. She is a high street girl. I can watch Catherine and catch her in a blazer from Zara, and I can jump on Zara or eBay, and I can wear the same blazer as the Princess of Wales. Meghan Markle is dripping in jewelry, dripping in expensive couture, at Paris, hijacking Paris Fashion Week. She wants that all over the internet. She's posting that to social media, her feet up as she passes Diana's gravesite. Meghan increases their vulnerability by showing her luxurious lifestyle on social media. She increases the appeal to predators, is how I would put it, by flirting and just showing bits and pieces of the children. I've talked to law enforcement that say there are creeps that take this as a challenge, and now they are fixated on knowing what those children look like. I mean, the difference between Harry and William, and why William is capable of living a comfortable and carefree life, despite cancer, despite losing his grandmother, his grandfather, his dad's cancer, his mother's cancer. I've never seen Prince William look so confident and content, is because he chose the right woman, and he found a partner that comforts him and that gives him that confidence and that calms him down when you know what hits the fan. Prince Harry found somebody that tickles his paranoia, that when he goes, I'm so ticked off, she goes, yeah, you should be. Actually, you should be more ticked off. Meanwhile, she is posting these weird pictures of their kids online, and she's posting all of these expensive things that she owns in her closet on the internet, and she's increasing their security concerns.
100%. Also, in a place like Los Angeles or the environs, which Montecito is, where we know that South American gangs find out when you're not home, or even if you're home, and they will rip into your house. They've done it with many celebrities. It's a huge problem there. But also, not only is she showing glimpses of her kids, she's selling candles of what they smell like. Ew. I mean, it's just so creepy. Whether it's what they smell like or not, it is evocative of her children. And it is, you're right, it is absolutely creepy. And I find it interesting because Harry keeps saying over and over, I'm coming to England this summer. You know, he wants the security. Of course, he's not going to get it full time. This is something that is not going to happen, despite him putting it out there in the press that he'd been assured he's going to get it any time now. However, not going to happen. He then has put out he's coming. So now everyone knows he's gotten 28 days notice. He will likely get security for Birmingham. However, I have been told no way in Sam hell is any member of the family going to see him while he's there. He's definitely not getting an invite to Birmingham, which he alluded to and kept saying, yes, I'd be open to an invitation for my wife and children. And in fact, they don't even want to see him at all because right now it's just too difficult. Since he ripped up Sandringham and they came out with that People magazine headline and refusing. Now, there's also word that Meghan and the children may not join him. They're really holding it over the King Charles's head. Again, he still thinks King Charles can get him security when it's been to explain to him 900 ways till Tuesday what's actually happening. And Charles is actually still smarting over the emotional blackmail that was committed on him earlier this year. Now, a rep for Harry has told me we haven't made any announcements regarding summer plans, so there's nothing to report on that front. What does that tell you?
Well, it's my understanding that King Charles in DC, having his most legendary moment as the sovereign, making a room full of diplomats and very famous American personalities crack up. It was the height of his reign so far. Having Harry and Meghan disrupt that with the Prince Harry making his own rules headline did not go unnoticed. And while his rep is telling certain people we haven't announced our plans, others are hearing that Harry has a full schedule for a week where he is going to be rallying around different charities, popping up for the photo ops, whether it's balloon animals with children or whatever, a full week where he is going to be, unfortunately, William has to be working that week too, because his children have a holiday shortly after that, so where he typically does go dark. So William has to be out there. When has the king taken a holiday lately? He will be doing conflicting engagements in the UK while we're seeing the British royal family doing their regular work. And that ticks off the royal family, because at the end of the day, they believe that this is all just a rehabilitation move by Prince Harry, not living the life of service that he and Meghan promised they were going to live when they stepped down as working members of the British royal family.
Yeah, I agree. And also he is there to shore up financial support for the Invictus Games. And this brings me to another story I had. Now, you guys are going to have to bear with me because I do need to read quite a bit off of the page on this, because I sure as heck don't want to get it wrong. But, Kinsey, you and I have talked about this. I've talked about it with other people about the financial issues of Invictus Games. The government has given 29 million pounds for the Birmingham Games. And there's only 4 million right now of anonymous corporate donors, almost zero individual donors that have contributed. And normally what's supposed to happen is you're supposed to have match the government contribution. So he's supposed to get around 29 million. The entire Games is budgeted between 40 to 63 million pounds. Nowhere near that right now. Now, the bigger issue is charity. As you've said, Harry wants to donate his life to charity. Just give it all away.
Because he has no other skills. Surfing right. And weed. Okay, enjoy.
Thank you. And polo. But apparently he just watches lovingly from the sidelines now. But the bigger issue on this one for me is, since leaving the royal family, his charities have all gone to seed. You had Travalyst, which since he left, they were like, hey, no one's giving any donations.
And they're suing him. They're suing him.
They're now suing him for defamation. You've got Africa Parks, which I'm going to do another show on for everyone, because Africa Parks Rangers are now have been accused.
Be careful what you say, because you'll get flagged for saying certain words about sexual.
I got it. Africa Parks has rangers have been accused of attacking Baka tribesmen and tribeswomen. And, I spent some time with the Baka in the Congo and Central African Republic when I was there a few years ago. It kills me. And, there have been calls for him to step down. He's ignoring them because Harry likes to ignore everything that does not fit into his.
Never complain, never explain, sometimes.
Exactly, except for when he wants to complain about daddy and his brother.
Yeah.
And now, of course, Invictus is a huge mess, and we've got Travelist. So a lot of people don't understand what Travelist is. So I did some digging in their tax returns because I find that fun. I'm a big goober. And Travelist is listed as a nonprofit adjacent sustainable travel coalition, described on its tax returns as a private company limited by guarantee without share capital. Now, this is very confusing to a lot of people. It was confusing as hell to me. But what it means is that it's a UK corporate structure commonly used by membership organizations, trade bodies, and charities where there are no shareholders and no dividends. It is limited by guarantee, so it sits in a gray zone. It's structured like a nonprofit with no shareholders or dividends, but operates as a taxable trading company. It also allows the company to be free of strict transparency rules governing actual charities. And this is a big bell for me right here. Anytime you want to limit transparency, I have a problem. And, so I reviewed the financial filings and tax returns from Travelist Limited. I put my report out on News Nation, and it's backed by heavyweight travel brands like Booking and Airbnb and Trip.com. And 2024 started out as their most charitable year ever. However, within 6 months, much of that ground was lost. So, according to their tax returns, by June 2024, Travelist had accumulated net assets of £320,000, which seems great for an organization that had spent its early years operating close to the margins, except just 6 months later, by early 2025, those reserves had fallen to 138,827 pounds, a drawdown of roughly 181,000 pounds over 6 months. Where did that money go? Well, apparently it went to growing headcount because they hired 10 employees. They went from 4 employees in 2022 to 14 by 2024. Now that all looks good. However, Travelist also seems to be counting money it's owed rather than money it has in the bank. Cash reserves fell. However, trade debtors and the money the clients outright owe climbed. So basically, as receivables grew, so did the company's liabilities. Short-term creditors have risen every single year without exception. The biggest part of this is they are counting their chickens before they hatch. Now, I'm not saying
that doesn't define Harry and Meghan. I don't know what does.
Thank you. Yeah, it's very their liquidity is not much, and their tax liability stayed the same within 6 months, which kind of hints that a tax bill went unpaid during that period. And again, none of this means it's in crisis, but it is still unclear what cash for carbon output actually does. And it is very worrisome because while counting their chickens before they hatch and saying, we've got all this money coming in, not actually in our bank account, the problem is the carbon output cause is very politically chic, if you will.
Everything
it's very 2 years ago. It's very 3 years ago. It's very
also it made no sense when at the time of him starting this, he was jumping on private jet to private jet. Like he was exclusively 100%. Traveling on private jets when he launched Travelist.
And saying, that's okay because I paid a carbon tax.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Like, how is that going to help? How is cash dollars helping my air?
And also it's like, that's like saying I shared my private jet with Leonardo DiCaprio. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. I call bullshit.
Well, first of all, you and I travel like crazy. And so what Travelist claims is their goal is to help travelers make more informed decisions by providing clear sustainability information about flights, hotels, and other travel options. And they don't operate as an independent travel company. They work with major brands like Booking, Google, Expedia, TripAdvisor, Skyscanner, and others. When is the last time, because I use all of these regularly to get the best deal on my flight and my hotel, when is the last time you saw any information that was provided to you from Travelist, or somebody said, thanks for taking this trip because you're saving this in carbon? What does Travelist, again, Archwell, show up, do good. What they do is just vague enough to where you can't hold them accountable for not actually doing their job. What does Travelist actually do? How have they impacted the industry? You and I travel all the time. Never in my life have I organically stumbled upon Travelist doing anything.
And also, by the way, do I really care if I'm going to pay X for one flight, but if I save carbon, I'm going to pay X plus 10? No, I'm not paying X plus 10. I'm broke. I just moved.
Yeah.
You know, like
Doug is hungry.
Doug is hungry. And trust me, that street dog has turned into a food snob. It's my fault. I did it to him. But you know, it doesn't make sense to me. And if something doesn't make sense to me, it's kind of like the Warren Buffett way of investing. You know, if I don't get it, I'm moving on.
Mhm.
And I'm kind of wondering how long it's going to take for these big companies to do that too. Now, also, what is Travelist doing that AI can't do? If I really was concerned about being carbon neutral, could I not just run a trip through AI and have AI tell me how to do carbon neutral instead of giving hundreds of thousands of pounds to this baloney skin semi-charity?
Yeah.
I don't get it. You know, I
Right.
always said from the beginning it would be better for him to pull something like Michael Milken Institute does, which they pair up companies with emerging nations and say, okay, we're actually going to help your tourism industry. We are going to show people the right way to travel, and we're going to promote local tribes. But then again, that would go back to Africa Parks, where apparently they're abusing local
Right. I
tribes.
just think that you made a really good point earlier when you talked about how we're looking for the cheapest deal. I mean, I
Hmm?
travel for work. I can't remember. Well, I don't know. Sometimes I travel for play, but I'm the majority of my travel is for work. I think I've gone on 1 or 2 vacations in the last 5 years. And so if we are in the unique position to take a vacation, is this carbon footprint thing even on our mind? Or are we thinking to ourselves, "What? I never take a vacation. I'm not gonna focus on that because I take a vacation so rarely that that's me saving that's my carbon footprint, contribution because I
Mhm.
can't afford to regularly take vacations." Like, it's such an elitist, if when you really think about it, it's such an elitist pursuit. Like, it would be one thing if they were going to big media companies and saying, "Hey, your reporters are always on the ground or always up in the air. Why don't we work with their coordination team?" But it's not. Like, he's talking down to the little people saying, "Your trip
Yes.
to Disneyland's too expensive, but me and Megan have been twice recently."
Right, exactly. And don't worry, we hit our faces. Well, that's it. Although, you know, you make a really good point about the elitism. And I think it's very interesting. So, this is a recent YouGov poll. And Megan, oh boy, I mean, Jesus, poor girl. She's fallen down, disliked actively by 27%. Of course, people know who she is. But as I've always said, as she keeps falling, as her brand keeps not selling, because you and I both know nobody's buying enough jam or wickless candles to keep the lights on in Montecito, she keeps showing more and more of her children's faces and does not care one whit about being seen as a hypocrite. She likes to tell us, the little people, keep your children off of social media, and then posts her own children on social media, which it just drives me nuts. Like, you know, if I get that Harry's a little dum dum, right? Like, Harry's not the sharpest knife in the drawer, but Meghan likes to say she's so brilliant. She went to college and all this stuff, which, yay, I love when people go to college. But it's also kind of like, girl, we see right through you. You're going to tell me what to do and then do it yourself. And then she utters this BS excuse of like, well, you know, this is on my personal page. It's not selling the kids. Sorry, you sold the kids last week with the candles. And also, you've had them in as ever things before. So it's kind of like having the audacity to look at us and say, who are you going to believe, me or your lying eyes? Like, what the heck is going on here, Kins?
Wait, I wanna finish up on something about Travelist before we pivot to Meghan Markle.
Please do. Please do.
Tuesday. You talked about the decline of Travelist and how you find it similar to what's going on with Invictus and Travalyst. And I do think it's important to mention, because I heard that this devastated Harry, that he's lost several important people at Travelist, and it really affected him. His chief executive officer, Sally, I think it's Sally Davy, stepped down in December of last year, and she'd been with the organization for 5 years. And it was her job to expand global partnerships, was what the LinkedIn said, develop this travel impact model. But he also lost India Gary Martin, and that was the company's first chairman. Quit her position, left the nonprofit after less than 2 years to focus on her own business. And we saw a similar decline with Travalyst. We're seeing leadership leaving Invictus. Attitude reflects leadership. Harry and Meghan are at the top of the pyramid here, and you've got these people bailing, and I think it is a reflection of the ecosystem of the company. Like, this is not worth it. And we saw similar accounts when it came to their commercial pursuits as well in Vanity Fair and The Hollywood Reporter. Meghan and the candles and the kids, it's the fighting back that I like. She is told she's a hypocrite. We know that Meghan has been told that we are calling her out on sharing the children's pictures because she's responding to it. I mean, she told Newsweek that she doesn't use them for commercial reasons. She said that, she's always been clear that there is a distinction between sharing moments from her life and exposing her children to public scrutiny. And she claims by obscuring their faces, she's demonstrating the very principle she advocates for, giving children privacy, agency, and protection in an increasingly digital world. Okay, word salad. Your children cannot consent to being shared in any way, shape, or form. Yep. And to my point before, I do think that it's a security issue where there are some freaks out there or some paparazzi with little morals and values. Harry would probably attest to this too, that want to get the shot so that people can see what she looks like on, or her children look like on the internet. I mean, she is a hypocrite in every way, shape, or form. You mentioned the candles. There's the Create and Cultivate stage she was on right before she married Harry, where she's like, I'm never going to sell a $100 candle. I'm not, that's obnoxious. And now you have to buy over $100 worth of candles if you want her dumbass matchsticks.
Yeah. Yeah. It's also interesting. So I'm doing a story this weekend about how she's been using AI to create her advertising. Oh. Which just BT dub goes against FTC rules. So. Also,
it goes against what she says in her Geneva speech about how AI's come to kill us all, to take us all down.
One hundo, Kinzarella. I mean, it drives me bonkers. Also, because she has shown her child's face. In this photo that I just put up, you can see that kid's profile very clearly.
You can't just decide you're gonna. You can't just decide you're not going to show the children's faces after there is a 6-hour Netflix series where the children are all over it, their faces exposed. And you talk about AI, if somebody wanted to, they could throw some of those stills in from the Netflix series, because you get plenty of both children in the Netflix series, and say, what will this child look like in 13 years? And it'll be pretty freaking close. Like, if you cared. I don't care. Those children are not royals to me. They will never, I don't care where they technically land in the line of succession. They will never reign. And they're irrelevant to me. And I've never called them prince and princess, I don't think, and I never will. I can confidently say I never will in my life.
By the way, how to raise your kid to be a complete jerk. I'm Princess Lili, back off.
I'm named after my dead great grandmother, who I've never met. My parents did not get her permission either.
It's either raise a jerk or raise your kid to get a beat down in school, because that would have happened in my place in Ohio and Kentucky. They would have been like, Prince Archie. But kids are horrible.
Kids are horrible.
Well,
Well, so are their parents, if we're being honest.
No, there's a reason why I have a dog. But what I also find interesting is that as her popularity goes down and as her products don't sell, she's not selling out on one-off. I've written about that before. People are now writing about how her products are not selling. They're getting more and more desperate. And the kids' faces are being shown more and more. And, you just wonder, at what point does Harry clue in that his wife is doing everything he said he hated about his childhood?
Yeah. She said she the reason she refused the royal, and I think I understand that.
One of the many reasons she refused. Yes.
Yeah. I understand that getting out of the hospital bed and doing hair and makeup and having to stand on, some asphalt while people take your picture days after giving birth is uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. But I've always thought it was so sweet, to witness Princess Diana and the Princess of Wales with the cradling their baby, and they're proud. They're so proud of their babies in those pictures. Meghan and Harry refused to do that. Meghan then goes, "I'm not just going to offer up my son on a silver platter to media." And it's like, well, what are we watching right now? Social media, these companies that you have said are the devil for the last 6 years. Harry and his Aspen Institute cronies trying to create laws around how we should behave on social media. And then she goes and offers up her children on social media. Remember when Hilaria Baldwin sold pictures of her children to People? I sometimes wonder, because they've got a really great relationship with People magazine, Harry and Meghan. I sometimes wonder if that's what she's inching up to, and then they're going to give a portion of the buyout to a charity or Archwell Foundation.
And again, Archwell Foundation. WTF is Archwell Philanthropy. So it's not the foundation anymore. Because the foundation financially went down the toilet. And I think the IRS might have been sniffing around allegedly. And so now
it doesn't help when you give Joe Biden's daughter $250,000 and she doesn't report it on her taxes. Now everybody's asking questions.
Yeah. It's oh my Lord. But you know what they're really going to be doing? The teeth are going to be gnashing in Montecito this weekend as Peter Phillips marries Harriet, and they are not going to be there. And I think this is going to really knife Harry in the old heart. It's going to be like what might have been, like a really cheesy Instagram post. But I do feel quite bad for him. And also at this point, it's getting a little odd because William and Catherine bit the bullet. They bit the bullet in many ways. And I always have to remind myself, just patience. I am the least patient person I know. Kinsey.
And I can attest to this because at 8:58 a.m., Paul was calling me going, "Where are you?" And I said, "I have a curling iron in my hair. I will be there in a minute."
It's true. And I'm like, I'm super punctual. I freak out if I'm late. I'm not very patient. I'm like, well, whatever. And William and Catherine have reminded me.
It's a virtue, girl.
Patience is best. They shut the hell up. They bit their lip through accusations of bullying, racism, beat down on a dog
physical attacks.
You name it. And now they're actually beating Harry and Meghan at the game that Harry and Meghan say they want to play. So all of us remember, of course, the disastrous trip to Australia, which they tried to say was so great. And in the hospital where they had all the kids wheeled out to meet them and take their masks off for photo time. And the kids were like, some of those photos were out of this world where the kids are like, I just want to go home, have ice cream, go away.
Can my immune system handle these strangers who just got off a plane?
thank you, who are may or may not have washed their hands and are staring at the camera wondering where they should look. And then you have Catherine, who actually is battling cancer and went and did this, which again, Kins, made me cry a little bit.
Please don't worry. What journey? It's been a tough one. Yeah. Well done. What an amazing day. Amazing. How long has it been?
I love this video so much, Kins.
Well, look at how much time she's spending with her, and she's not looking for the nearest camera.
No, in fact, her back is
she's really engaged. And in classic Catherine form, she actually greets them by making a beeline to the woman's baby, loving on the baby first.
Yes. And also just putting the woman at ease and empathizing, but actual empathy. You know, it's actually it's so stark, the difference between this business
This is your day.
cancer ward and a hospital.
I do think that they're probably struggling to hear you because the audio on Catherine's video is still loud.
Got it. So sorry. So you're right. Oh, wait. I love this part. Hold on. I love it so much, Kins. And you guys, sorry if I was talking over the video. You know, I'm still kind of new to this. But that was a video of authenticity and empathy and everything that the B to D to Z list actress is trying to show, but can't quite get there.
I mean, I just think the biggest, aside from the authenticity and just that's something you can't fake, despite Meghan loving to use that word to describe herself. What was it in Harper's Bazaar, just talking about how authentic she was? You can feel that Catherine's attention is entirely consumed by the subjects and I just mean the entity that she is talking to right there at that moment. I don't mean subjects like, you know, I am Queen Catherine, because she doesn't act that way. You know, she's very much, when she meets people, she says, especially children, she's like, I'm Catherine, you know, not I'm Princess Catherine. But she is so engaged with the people she's talking to. And if you go watch similar, well, I would even say Harry's better at it, but he has a block. He has a physical aura block when they're walking through crowds to get to whoever they're about to be photographed talking to. He has a tough exterior, but he also is not looking for the cameras and trying to engage with the cameras with a fake smile on his face, whereas that is Meghan's MO. She's thinking about the shot. Meghan is there to get the picture. Meghan is there to get,
where's my light?
Yeah, exactly. And Catherine goes and she gives her entire 110% to that person she's talking to. Like your point, her back is to the cameras and you know that it's killing the photographers, but her agenda is not for them to have a good day at work. Her agenda is to make these people feel special and to celebrate the hospital that is saving lives. And as long as she's accomplished those goals, I think that she feels like she's had a good day. But she's not there to pander to the cameras, and she's not there to change public perception about herself. She doesn't care. Her only objective is to elevate these charities that have helped save her life, that have helped save her friends' lives, and are helping save cancer patients. And it's sweet and sad that she has this in common with this woman, but you felt it.
Yeah, you did. And the woman felt it. I mean, it was lovely. It was really lovely. And Kins, thank you so much for coming on. I so appreciate you. just adore you. You guys.
We should say it's Claire Laurent, I believe. Maybe Laurente, but Claire Laurent is the 30-year-old cancer patient. We should acknowledge her name. Yeah.
We should. And thank you for that. I appreciate you. And I love you, Kins. And everyone follow Kinsey Schofield on Unfiltered. She's the best.
Thank you.
I love her. Kinsey, wait backstage. I shall see you in a little bit.
Okay, cool.
Hey guys, I know there were some issues with Kinsey being out of focus, but these things happen, you know, and thanks for sticking with us. We love you. Now, tomorrow I will be with Allison Boshoff, where we will discuss the royal wedding. What? And all of the craziness that will happen around noon on Saturday, New York City time. Before we go, I obviously promised you a little word from the turd bird. And I have to warn you right now that he's been overwhelmed. It was a big deal for him. We had scaffolding being put at the day that I moved in. They put up scaffolding and didn't tell me. So it took a lot out of Doug. He's been scream barking at a lot of people. So this is his final word, and it's short and it's sleepy. Yeah.
Just total time. Tummy total time.
It's true. He had to have a lot of tummy total time. That's what we like to call it here in the Frolic family household, because I love alliteration. Anyway, you guys, I just want to say thank you so much. Again, I appreciate you guys welcoming me back, welcome me into the community in general. I adore you. Please like, please subscribe, and I hope to see you tomorrow. Well, we're going to break down that royal wedding because it's going to be good. And then on Sunday, I will have the celebrity crash report for all of those who want a little something, something outside of the days of our Montecito. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Bye.